Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is me, MsNoBuntu, DIVAA, divinely inspired, vibrantly anointed artist. I'm back again today, and I just wanted to catch up with you. It is the 25th of December 2020, and I just wanted to share something with you that I realized a number of weeks ago, if not a month ago already. So come on in. This is your first time on this channel. I have a number of public playlists. Two of them include Ian Fix My Life reviews, thoughts on all the episodes of this particular finale season, and then the other series that I am reviewing is the Peace of Mind with Taraji P. Henson. I have those playlists that are public, and as well as other weekly digest, daily digest, As It Is in Heaven and At Home with MsNoBuntu. And so please check those out if this is your first time on this channel, or if you've been coming regularly on this channel and you haven't really checked out what else is on this channel. I have about 6 playlists that are public on this channel. Peruse through those, and if you like what you see and you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe down below, consider it, and hit that notifications bell so that every time that I do upload something here on the channel, you are notified and are first to know, and you don't miss out on anything that goes on this channel. So today what I wanted to share with you is just an insight and a revelation I had about a month ago, or maybe a month and a half, or a number of weeks ago. I started watching the Anne Frank story. So I watched the animated version of it, and then I watched the 3-hour film that was made whatever year, maybe somewhere in the 90s, but was made there. And coming from watching this Anne Frank film, where it's the middle of World War II, and the Jewish nation in Europe is being ostracized and being targeted by Germany, and whether they're in Amsterdam, whether they're in Germany, where those areas that were affected by that, they now had to wear this yellow star. It started with, you have to wear this yellow star so people can see that you are, not German, or you are not Dutch or Hollandaise. And then it culminated and compounded to the Jewish nation being hauled off into trains and into concentration camps, and literally being exterminated. And so I've been thinking a lot about that film, and the revelation and the insight that I got from it. And I realized that for me, this time is very much like what was happening in the time of Anne Frank, as portrayed particularly in the film, where, her dad eventually got to a point where he realized that it's hot. The environment is hot. They already have to wear these yellow stars to show everyone that we're part of the Jewish nation. We have Jewish descent. Our ethnicity is Jewish. And he realized that the environment is getting more and more hostile, and that my family needs to go into hiding, because we've been hearing about people being hauled off into concentration camps and being exterminated and being killed and going missing. So he decided that his family was now going to go into hiding. And they were hidden for however many days until they were discovered, and then they were hauled off into the concentration camps. They were a family of 4, 2 parents and 2 sisters. And everyone died except for the dad. And when the entire, ostracization of the Jewish nation came to an end, it was only Anne Frank's father who survived and remarried thereafter. But what I got from this story is that I was looking at 2020, and I was so grateful that when this pandemic hit, I had a goal to complete something, a research project this year, or at least make a lot of traction and progress in my research project, so that there would be so little to do by the time 2021 begins. But as I watched this film corroborated with me the decision to slow down and not to try and go on within 2020 as if I was not surviving a pandemic, as if I was not surviving other consequential things that happened as a result of a pandemic happening worldwide. When the pandemic happened, I had two choices: to go ahead as if it was normal, or to pay attention to the fact that the environment had changed and the environment had become hostile. And I had some decisions to make. Am I going to go on as a strong Black woman? Am I going to go on as a superwoman? Am I going to go on as a martyr? Or am I going to quickly strip myself of any of those identities, burn those capes, because that's not even part of my identity anymore, in a pandemic crisis or not? I don't want that. I had that decision to make. Am I going to take those off or keep them on? But when I look back, had I not taken them off, and had I not had a conversation with myself and said to myself, gentle, gentle, NoBuntu, gentle, gentle, move with the flow of this hostile environment and this hostile circumstance. And if it's slowing you down, don't fight it. Slow down, or you're going to get sick, you're going to get depressed, you're going to get ill, you're going to experience all kinds of problems mentally, physically, and spiritually if you don't slow down, so that you can keep your wellness, so that you can keep your health, so that you can keep your clarity. Had Anne Frank's father not surveyed the hostile environment around the nation of the Jews and insisted, oh, let's go on as usual. We moved from there and now we're in Amsterdam. Things are better here in Amsterdam. It's not so bad as it was in Germany. They moved from Germany to Amsterdam. And if he had continued as if he wasn't hearing stories of people being hauled off in trains, in cow trains, into concentration camps, if he had pretended that, oh, everything is normal, I'm just going to go on with my business, had he not made the call and made the decision, let's go into hiding now. The environment is getting hot. The hostility is getting hot. We need to go into hiding right now and respond to what this environment is holding up against us. It's saying it's not normal anymore. You can't go on as if it's normal anymore, the normal that you know anymore. Respond to it. Interact with this new thing that you're being presented with in a way that helps you to survive this new thing. Had I not decided gentle, gentle, had I not decided that I'm not going to be a strong Black woman, I'm not going to be a superwoman, I'm not going to be Wonder Woman, I'm not going to be a martyr, had I not decided that, I might have caught COVID by now. I might be very, very, very sick and in the hospital by now. But because I made the decision, I surveyed my environment, and my environment was saying it's hostile out here. It's not possible to walk on the ground and no landmines go off. So tread light. Had I not surveyed my environment and responded to what my environment was feeding back to me and giving me information about, I would not be well by now. My mental space would not be in a healthy space right now. My physical health would not be in a good place right now. and in a bad way. I would be burnt out. I'd be burnt out. And I just want to say, you might have gotten slowed down. You might not have been able to achieve what you set out to achieve and complete this year. But if you surveyed the environment, if you watched what was going and responded in kind to the environment in order to preserve yourself, in order to survive the hostility of this circumstance, this pandemic that we all find ourselves in, had you not, you wouldn't have survived. And to survive was to respond based on what was going on and not based on, well, it used to be something else. And I'm so glad that I surveyed and I got the feedback from the hostility of the environment, and I moved according to what the environment was prompting, which was, oh, you better slow down. And what you're intended in terms of your schedule, in terms of your speed, in terms of your time, has to be altered and has to be changed. And you quickly get to a place of being okay with that. Because what was happening in this year is that we're surviving a pandemic. We're not falling behind. We're not completing our goals. We're not completing our purposes and the things that we had set out to do. We were surviving a pandemic. And then the trickle-down effect of that pandemic. Some of us lost jobs because of that pandemic. You know, some of us spent 6 months alone in lockdown. Some of us lived next to horrible neighbors in the middle of a pandemic, etc., etc. So there was so much happening that was so hostile that to go on as if nothing had happened would have really been me self-harming. At some point, you need to not swim against the tide and just flow with the tide. And you'll get to some place of sanctuary where it's possible again, where the waters are still and the tide is not going strongly this way or that way. And now you'll be able to stroke again and swim a direction that you choose, because the tide is not particularly being directed in any direction or this way or that way. The tide, which way you go, is up to you because the waters are still. Once we get to a point that the waters are still, then sure, I'll get back to how quickly I need to do the things that I set out to do, how to achieve what I had set out to achieve in the time that I would like to achieve it in. Then I'll go back to that kind of rhythm. But the rhythm right now is such that we're in a deluge of a wave and a strong tide, and I'm not flowing against the tide. I'm going to flow and trust that in the tide, the grace of God is there. And the tide is going to pour me over into a pool of still waters at some point. And at that point, I'll get to choose which way I want to go and how quickly I want to go, and be able to resume my plans and my vision, and be able to resume everything to the speed that it's not that I've lost my plans and my vision, but I'm going with the tide. And so I just want to encourage you, don't be rough on yourself. Don't be tough on yourself. Just gentle, gentle. Something extraordinary, and not in a good way, has happened. Flow with the tide. We'll get to still waters because our God is a sovereign God. We'll get to still waters and we'll be able to resume the plans of God over our lives. But for now, don't harm yourself by swimming against the tide. Don't harm yourself by not reading the hostility of the environment and adjusting so that you are able to survive in the midst of the hostility. Don't you do that. I just want to tell you, gentle, gentle. You've done well if you're still breathing and it's the 25th and you still have a roof over your head and you have some food that you're going to eat and you were not sick with anything this year. The blood of Jesus has been good. God has been good, and Holy Spirit has been good. So be thankful. And there's so much to be thankful for, even in the midst of this. You've done well. You've done well. And pat yourself on the back. We're all still here. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I love you. I appreciate you. Thanks for continuing to come back to this channel. I will see you again next time. Bye.